Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Hello Word. My name is Alex, and I am thrilled to have you join me today. Whether you are tuning in from your kitchen, your car, or your cozy living room, I want you to feel relaxed and ready to learn some new English words and phrases. Today, we will delve into a series of words that are especially useful when discussing office life. We will be looking at words that describe people in the workplace, such as the individuals you might report to or collaborate with, and words that describe key aspects of working life, like different types of leave or employment actions. These words belong to a mix of parts of speech. We will encounter nouns that name people and things, and verb phrases that describe important actions. By the end of this episode, you should feel more confident about using these words in real life. If you have ever found yourself wanting to talk about your job, your colleagues, or your career in English, but did not know the right words, this episode is designed specifically for you. It is also perfect for anyone who wants to broaden their general English vocabulary with terms often used in professional contexts. Our theme today is all about the office environment. However, do not be fooled into thinking this is just for office workers. Whether you are working in a factory, a school, a hospital, or from home, many of the concepts we will discuss apply to a wide range of professional spaces. You will likely hear colleagues and clients using these terms in emails, during meetings, and in everyday conversations. It is my goal to help you understand these words so that you can use them without hesitation. We will talk about positions of authority, different roles, and some key administrative terms such as annual leave and maternity leave. We will even explore the phrases used for terminating employment, as well as those related to stepping away from a job voluntarily. These topics might seem serious, but do not worry. We will keep things light, clear, and easy to follow so that you can have fun while learning. Before we begin, let us reflect on how common it is to need these words in daily life. Even if you are not currently employed, you might still interact with these concepts. Perhaps you have a friend or family member who is going through a promotion, or maybe someone close to you was recently made redundant. Maybe you will be starting your first job soon, or you are in the process of changing careers. In all these scenarios, having a grasp of the right vocabulary helps you participate in conversations more effectively and confidently. When it comes to language learning, context is everything. That is why we will not just define each word. We will also provide examples of how these words are commonly used in real-world scenarios, as well as sample sentences to show each word in action. Now, let us get started with our vocabulary list, which features common words that revolve around office life. We will begin by looking at nouns that refer to various roles in the workplace, from employer to employee, from manager to colleague. Then we will move on to certain phrases that describe actions like to be made redundant, to dismiss somebody, and to resign from one's job. After that, we will discuss important concepts such as parental leave, annual leave, and maternity leave, which often come up when employees need to take time off for specific reasons. Each word will have its own paragraph, so you can zero in on each term, understand its part of speech, see examples of how it is used, and practice some sample sentences. As we go through each word, keep in mind that real mastery comes from practice and repetition. One of the best ways to really soak up new vocabulary is to repeat it out loud. You can also write these words down, create your own sentences with them, or try to use them in a conversation with a friend. Over time, your comfort level with these words will increase, and you will find that they become part of your everyday vocabulary. If you discover that a particular word or phrase resonates with you, challenge yourself to use it several times in the coming week. The more you use these words in relevant contexts, the more natural they will feel. All right, let us jump right in. The first word on our list is employer. Employer is a noun, and it refers to a person or organization that pays people to work for them. In other words, an employer hires employees and has the authority to decide on wages, job roles, and responsibilities. You might hear someone say, "My current employer offers great benefits and flexible working hours." The word employer often appears in job-related contexts, including interviews and employment contracts. For instance, a company offering a position might state in the contract that they will act as the primary employer, providing a salary and certain benefits in exchange for your services. In daily conversations, employer can come up in statements such as, "My employer asked me to work extra hours next week," or "I am looking for an employer who values work-life balance." Here is a sample sentence. "My employer has decided to implement new training programs next month, so I will be learning new skills at work." Whenever you discuss your job situation, the word employer is key to explaining who you work for. Next, let us look at female colleague. Colleague is a noun that refers to a person you work with, someone who is in the same organization or team. When you specify female colleague, you are emphasizing that this colleague is a woman. This might be used in contexts where the gender distinction is important or relevant to the conversation. For instance, you could say, "My female colleague and I collaborated on a presentation for the entire department." Because colleague can be a gender-neutral word, adding the word female clarifies that you are talking about a woman without implying any specific social or professional status. You could also hear someone say, "One of my female colleagues has been promoted to a leadership position, which is great news for gender equality in our workplace." A simple example sentence is, "My female colleague and I decided to arrange a team-building event for everyone at the office." Use this term when you want to specify the gender of the colleague you are referring to. Similarly, the phrase male colleague is used when you want to specify that the colleague you are talking about is a man. Just like female colleague, male colleague is a noun phrase. It helps provide clarity in your conversation, especially in cases where the gender aspect is significant to the story. For example, you might say, "I asked my male colleague to join the project because he has a strong background in finance." Alternatively, in casual conversation, you could say, "My male colleague and I are going to attend a conference next week to meet potential clients." This phrase is also handy if you need to distinguish between different colleagues when telling a detailed anecdote. Here is a sample sentence. "My male colleague organized a lunch gathering to celebrate the end of our project." Remember that if the gender is not relevant, you can simply say colleague, which automatically includes both men and women. The next word we will explore is manager. Manager is a noun, and it refers to a person who is in charge of a team, a department, or a specific project within a company. A manager is responsible for overseeing the work of employees, planning work schedules, and often making important decisions that affect the team. For instance, you might hear someone say, "My manager asked me to prepare a report on last quarter's sales figures." Or you could say, "I had a meeting with the manager to discuss my performance review." Managers typically have a higher level of responsibility within an organization and may report directly to directors or executives. If you have a concern about workload or need approval for time off, your first step is often to speak with your manager. Here is an example. "I get along well with my manager because she communicates clearly and offers helpful feedback on my work." This word is key when talking about your workplace hierarchy or your day-to-day interactions with your supervisor. Boss is our next noun, and it refers to the person in charge of your work. This term is often used in everyday, less formal conversation, although it can also appear in semi-formal settings. The term boss is a bit more casual than manager, but in many workplaces, they can refer to the same person. For instance, you can say, "My boss is scheduling a training session next Monday," or "I need to inform my boss that I will be arriving late tomorrow." The word boss can sometimes carry a more informal or personal tone. For example, you might hear employees saying, "My boss is really supportive, and he encourages me to keep improving." However, if you are in a formal situation, you might opt for the term manager or supervisor. A sample sentence is, I am meeting with my boss today to request an extension on my project deadline. Use boss when you want a shorter, more conversational way to refer to the person in charge of your work. Now let us turn to the noun employee. An employee is a person who works for a company or organization and is paid for their services. Employees usually have an employer and a job title that outlines what they do. You might say, I have been an employee at this company for 5 years. Or perhaps you want to describe someone else. She is a dedicated employee who always meets her deadlines. The term employee appears in many formal contexts, such as employment contracts, discussions about rights and benefits, and organizational announcements. In casual conversation, someone might simply say, we have 100 employees at our company, referring to the entire workforce. A sample sentence for employee could be, every employee is expected to attend the upcoming safety training session. This word is central to talking about work, since it points directly to the person who is hired to fulfill specific duties for an employer. Next on our list is business card. Business card is a noun that refers to a small piece of paper or cardboard that contains a person's name, job title, company name, and contact information. Business cards are traditionally used in professional and networking settings, although many people now use digital alternatives. You might hear, I ran out of my business cards, so I had to write my number on a piece of paper. Or you could say, let me give you my business card so that you can call me about our next project. Business cards are particularly popular at conferences, seminars, and networking events where individuals meet potential clients or collaborators. For instance, you might say, I attended a career fair and collected business cards from several recruiters. A sample sentence is, you should always keep a few business cards in your wallet when attending professional events. Even in an increasingly digital age, having a business card can be seen as a sign of professionalism and can help you make a good first impression. The next phrase is to be made redundant, which is commonly used in British English to describe a situation in which an employee is laid off because their job is no longer needed or because the company is cutting costs. This phrase is a verb phrase, though it often appears in the passive voice. For example, you might say, unfortunately, I was made redundant when the company closed our department. It can also be used in a more indirect way. She is worried about being made redundant due to the merger with another company. In American English, the phrase laid off is often used similarly. In general usage, you will hear this phrase in discussions about job security, economic downturns, or company restructuring. For instance, someone might tell their friend, my neighbor was made redundant last month, and now he is actively searching for a new job. A sample sentence is, because of the new technological system, many employees in the old department were made redundant and had to seek other opportunities. Personnel is our next noun, and it refers collectively to the people who are employed by an organization. You might see a sign in an office that says Personnel Department, which is the department that handles hiring, training, and sometimes payroll. You could also say, our company has excellent personnel who are well-trained and dedicated to their jobs. In many cases, the word personnel is used in formal contexts, such as official documents or company communications. Another example might be, the human resources manager oversees all personnel matters, from recruitment to promotions. If you're talking about different aspects of the workforce, you might say, I am impressed with how the personnel handled the emergency situation. Here is a sample sentence. The organization has recently expanded its personnel by hiring new designers, developers, and marketing experts. While the word employees refers to individuals, the word personnel often refers to the group as a whole or to the department concerned with managing people. Now let us talk about parental leave. Parental leave is a noun phrase that describes the time off from work that parents are entitled to after the birth or adoption of a child. This term is often used to cover both maternity leave and paternity leave, and it acknowledges that both parents have the right to spend time caring for their new child. You might hear it used in a conversation about workplace benefits. For example, someone might say, "Our company has a generous parental leave policy, giving new parents up to 6 months of paid leave." In everyday conversations, a person might share, "I plan to take parental leave so I can bond with my baby and help my partner at home." This is especially common in companies or countries where family-friendly policies are prioritized. A sample sentence could be, "She took parental leave for several months, and her employer welcomed her back with a flexible schedule when she returned." Remember that different companies and countries have different policies, so the length and conditions of parental leave can vary widely. Our next term is annual leave, which is a noun phrase referring to the number of days off an employee is entitled to take each year for vacation or personal reasons. This is sometimes also called vacation time or holiday in everyday language. For example, you might say, "I have 5 days of annual leave left, and I am planning to take them in December." The word annual in this context emphasizes that these days off are allocated on a yearly basis, often renewed every 12 months. Employers typically have policies that outline how annual leave is accrued or used. In a daily scenario, you could say, "I need to request annual leave for next month because I am planning to travel." A sample sentence is, "Many people use their annual leave during the summer to go on family vacations." This concept is fundamental to employment because it allows employees to rest and recharge, contributing to better work-life balance. Let us move on to salary. Salary is a noun that refers to the fixed amount of money that an employee is paid by an employer in exchange for their work, usually on a monthly or yearly basis. Unlike an hourly wage, a salary typically does not vary based on the number of hours worked. For example, if you earn a salary of $50,000 a year, you can expect that amount regardless of slight changes in your daily schedule. In daily conversation, you might hear, "My salary is paid on the last day of each month." You can also talk about salary when discussing job offers. "The company offered me a competitive salary, so I decided to accept the position." Here is a sample sentence. "He negotiated a higher salary when he took on more responsibilities at the company." Salary discussions can be sensitive, so be mindful of the context when bringing it up in conversation. Next is promotion. Promotion is a noun that describes the act of being elevated to a higher position or rank within a company. It usually comes with greater responsibilities and often a higher salary. You might hear someone say, "I worked really hard this year and finally got a promotion to team leader." In everyday conversation, you could say, "She is aiming for a promotion, so she has been taking on additional tasks to show her capabilities." Promotions are an important part of career development, signaling recognition of an employee's skills and contributions. Another common phrase is promotion prospects, which refers to the likelihood or opportunity for advancement within a job. For instance, "I took this role because the promotion prospects here are excellent." A sample sentence is, "After completing a major project successfully, my boss informed me that I was being considered for a promotion." If you are keen on professional growth, understanding how promotions work is a key part of navigating the workplace. The phrase to dismiss somebody is a verb phrase that means to formally end someone's employment. This can happen for many reasons, such as poor performance, misconduct, or company downsizing. In everyday speech, to dismiss somebody can sound somewhat formal or official, indicating a more authoritative tone. You might hear, "The company decided to dismiss several staff members due to ongoing budget cuts." Alternatively, an employer might say, "We had to dismiss him because he repeatedly violated company policy." Another way to express this is to say that someone was fired, though that phrase can carry a more abrupt or negative connotation. A sample sentence could be, The manager had no choice but to dismiss the employee who was consistently late for important client meetings. Keep in mind that the process of dismissal often involves legal or contractual elements, depending on local labor laws and the specifics of an employment agreement. Let us discuss the phrase to resign from one's job. This is also a verb phrase that means to voluntarily leave a position of employment. People resign for a variety of reasons, such as seeking better opportunities, changing careers, or dealing with personal matters. You might hear someone say, "I decided to resign from my job because I found a new role that offers more growth potential." Or you could mention, "She resigned from her job to start her own business." In formal settings, the term resignation is used, and an employee will often submit a resignation letter to officially inform their employer of their decision. A sample sentence is, "He chose to resign from his job so he could spend more time with his family." Resigning is different from being dismissed or laid off because the action is initiated by the employee rather than the employer. Finally, let us explore maternity leave. Maternity leave is a noun phrase that specifically refers to the time a mother takes off from work before and after giving birth. It is a form of parental leave, but maternity leave is focused on the period of pregnancy and postpartum recovery for women. Many workplaces and countries have specific policies outlining how long a maternity leave can last and whether it is paid or unpaid. For example, someone might say, "I am preparing for maternity leave, so I have been training a temporary replacement to handle my duties while I am away." In casual conversation, you might hear, "She will be on maternity leave from April until August." This leave is crucial for the health and well-being of both mother and baby. A sample sentence is, "Her employer offered 12 weeks of maternity leave, which gave her enough time to rest, recover, and care for her newborn before returning to work." Knowing these terms is helpful both for expecting parents and for anyone who might need to understand the structure of work leave policies. And there you have it. We have walked through a list of significant words and phrases that are widely used in an office or workplace context. By understanding how to talk about employers, employees, colleagues, managers, and other roles, you will be able to navigate conversations about job responsibilities and organizational structures more naturally. Additionally, being familiar with terms like business card, personnel, annual leave, salary, promotion, to dismiss somebody, to resign from one's job, and the various forms of leave will allow you to communicate effectively about key processes and policies that shape the working world. I hope you have found this episode helpful and engaging. Remember that learning English words in context is one of the most powerful ways to remember them. If you hear a word in a story or in an example sentence, try to imagine yourself in that scenario. Perhaps visualize handing your business card to a new client or sending in your resignation letter before pursuing a new opportunity. By actively picturing these scenarios, you help cement the vocabulary in your mind. Before we wrap up, I would like to invite you to subscribe to the Hello Word podcast if you have not done so already. By subscribing, you never miss an episode, and it helps us know that we have a dedicated audience that is excited to keep learning and growing in their English fluency. Also, if you have a moment, please leave a review. Reviews are one of the best ways for new listeners to discover the show, and your support can help us reach more people who are on their language learning journey. Whether you want to drop a quick note or share in detail what you enjoy about Hello Word, we truly appreciate every word of feedback. Your engagement not only motivates us to create more content, but also ensures that we continue to improve and provide the best possible language learning resource for you. Thank you for spending time with me today, and I hope you feel more confident in using these office-related words. Keep practicing them in your conversations, and do not be afraid to experiment. If you have any questions or topics you would like to see covered in future episodes, feel free to send them my way. Our journey through English vocabulary is ongoing, and your suggestions help shape our upcoming content. Until next time, this is Alex signing off from Hello Word. Keep exploring new words, keep practicing, and remember to have fun with your language learning. I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Take care and have a wonderful day.